Picture a city where the shadows have a life of their own. Welcome to Ravenwood, or as the locals call it, Obsidian City. It is the kind of place where secrets are buried under layers of fog and the hum of the electrical grid is the only constant companion you have at night. Usually the city breathes in a steady rhythm, but on one particular Tuesday, at exactly 3:11 a.m., that rhythm stopped. A sudden, jarring blackout plunged an entire neighborhood into total, suffocating darkness. Now, a power outage in an old city like this isn't exactly front page news, but this one was different. It only lasted a few minutes. When the lights flickered back to life, the world seemed to return to normal for everyone except for the residents of one quiet house on the corner of Oak and Vine. Inside that house, the silence was heavy, and it was about to become the center of a mystery that would defy every rule in the Detective's handbook. Detective Sara Malik was the one who got the call. She is the kind of investigator who notices the things everyone else misses, the type who looks at a crime scene and sees a story instead of just evidence. When she arrived at the home of Mr. Cameron, the scene was unsettlingly peaceful. There were no shattered windows, no kicked-in doors, and not a single drawer had been tossed. Mr. Cameron was found lying on his living room floor, completely unconscious. But here is the kicker. There was no blood. There were no signs of a struggle. No bruises, no marks on his neck, nothing. To any passerby, it looked like he had simply decided to take a nap in the middle of the room, but Mr. Cameron wasn't sleeping. He was in a deep, unresponsive coma, and nobody could figure out why. Sara walked through the house, her boots clicking softly on the hardwood floors. She checked the kitchen, the study, and the bedroom. Everything was in its right place. The victim's wallet was still on the side table, filled with cash. His expensive watch was still on his wrist. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something surgical, something intentional. As she stood in the center of the living room, she kept coming back to that time stamp, 3:11 a.m. Why did the power go out right when this happened? Was it a coincidence, or was the blackout the weapon itself? Sara knew that in a city like this, coincidences are just clues that haven't been connected yet. She started her investigation by talking to the people who knew the neighborhood best, the neighbors. Most of them were annoyed by the blackout, complaining about their clocks resetting or their air conditioning cutting out. But then she spoke to an elderly woman living next door who mentioned something peculiar. She told Sara that just seconds before the lights died, she heard a strange, low humming sound. It wasn't the usual buzz of a transformer or the rumble of a passing truck. It was a high-frequency vibration that made the teeth in her head feel like they were rattling. It lasted only a moment, followed by a sharp pop and then total silence. This detail sent a chill down Sara's spine. She headed back to the station to check the security footage from the surrounding streets. Every single camera in a 3-block radius had gone dark at exactly 3:11 a.m. It wasn't just a power failure. It was a localized technical blackout. Someone had deliberately blinded the city's eyes. But why go through all that trouble just to leave a man unconscious without a scratch on him? To find the answer, Sara had to look into who Mr. Cameron really was. He wasn't just a quiet homeowner. He was a brilliant engineer working on a highly controversial energy project. His research was focused on revolutionary ways to stabilize and disrupt power grids, a technology that could potentially make traditional energy corporations obsolete. As Sara dug deeper into his professional life, the plot thickened. She found out that a mysterious stranger had been seen lurking near Cameron's house in the days leading up to the incident, a tall figure in a dark coat, always watching, never staying in one place for long. Then came the forensic report. The doctors were baffled. There were no toxins in Cameron's system, no drugs, no signs of a heart attack or a stroke. His brain activity showed a massive, sudden surge of electrical interference, as if his entire nervous system had been rebooted like a computer. Sara spent the next night hunched over Cameron's laptop, working with a tech specialist to crack his encrypted files. What they found was a digital trail of breadcrumbs leading straight to a web of corporate espionage. Cameron had been receiving threats from a rival energy firm, a massive conglomerate that stood to lose billions if his project succeeded. The files contained frantic notes from Cameron, documenting how he felt he was being followed and his fears that his work was being monitored. He was on the verge of a breakthrough, a discovery that would change the way the world uses power, and someone wanted to make sure that never happened. The pieces finally began to click into place for Sara. She realized the blackout wasn't just a cover for a break-in, it was the delivery mechanism. She returned to the house this time with a team of specialized forensic technicians. They scanned the walls, the floors, and even the air vents. Hidden in a small crawl space near the main power intake of the house, they found it, a sophisticated custom-built electromagnetic pulse device. It was designed to be triggered remotely. When the blackout hit, the device discharged a focused, non-lethal but incredibly powerful neurological shock. It was a silent strike that targeted the human brain's electrical signals, knocking Cameron out cold without leaving a single physical mark. It was the perfect crime. No weapon, no blood, no evidence for a traditional detective to find. But the attacker had made one mistake. Every high-tech device leaves a digital signature. Sara traced the remote trigger for the device back to a secure server owned by a rival scientist, a man who had once been Cameron's colleague but had since sold his soul to the highest corporate bidder. This rival had the technical know-how to build the device and the motive to silence Cameron before his energy project could go public. He thought he was being clever, using the city's own infrastructure to hide his tracks, but he underestimated Sara Malik's persistence. With the evidence in hand, Sara and her team moved in. They apprehended the scientist in his high-tech lab on the outskirts of the city, where they found the blueprints for the EMP device and logs of the attack. Under the pressure of an intense interrogation, the scientist finally cracked. He confessed that the corporation had hired him to neutralize Cameron, but they didn't want a murder investigation on their hands. They wanted him gone, or at least incapacitated, in a way that looked like a medical mystery. They wanted to steal his research while he lay helpless in a hospital bed. In the end, justice was served. The corporation was hit with massive lawsuits and criminal charges, and the rival scientist was sent to prison for his sophisticated assault. But the best news came a few days later. Mr. Cameron finally woke up from his coma. His recovery was slow, but his mind was intact, and his revolutionary energy project was back on track. Now, with the full protection of the law, the city of Ravenwood returned to its usual rhythm, but the legend of the silent crime at 3:11 a.m. would be told for years to come. It was a reminder that in the age of technology, even the most invisible weapons leave a trail if you know where to look. Thank you so much for following along with this twisted mystery. If you enjoyed unmasking the truth behind the Obsidian City blackout, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most baffling cases. We have plenty more stories of shadows and secrets coming your way soon. Until next time, keep your eyes open and stay curious. Thanks for watching.